Texas tatted on my arm, got Houston on my back, cause I love the city I'm from. Hands up if you feel that. I ball hard like a Texan every Sunday.
Texans Central Radio, hosted by Jay Anderson.
Hey y'all, it's another Friday and we're back with Texas Central here on the Pro Football Central Network. Today we're going to be introducing you to a new member of the PFC family, Mr. Michael Valverde. Also, we're going to be recapping not only just the preseason, but really, do we need the Governor's Cup during the preseason? Do we really have to go up 45 every year for this? Also, my second guest for the evening is going to be Claire Bear. She's definitely my sister from another mother, and she's also on the NFL Female Network of Writers, as well as our podcast, and she represents everything Houston Texans for them. It's going to be an exciting show, so I suggest that you put on your boots, strap up, and you're ready to ride.
Check out bigfrog.com/Cincinnati. That's bigfrog.com/Cincinnati. You think it, we ink it. They have an awesome 24-hour turnaround time. You can also visit them at their fabulous store over at Anderson Town Center, 7426 Beachmont Avenue, Cincinnati, Ohio 45255. That's bigfrog.com/Cincinnati.
And Mr. Michael Valverde. He's going to be joining us today, and I would like for y'all to give him a huge Texans Central Radio round of applause and introduce him to the PFC family. Hi, Michael. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm amazing. So, Michael, today is your big debut. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Much appreciated. Looking forward.
And if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, Michael, and what brought you to the PFC family.
Oh, certainly. What brought me to the PFC family is I just couldn't believe the amount of detail that PFC puts out. It's really professional, and it's just tons of detail. Anything you'd want is in one site. Not only pro football but college football. So it's definitely a football heaven for those who are interested in the college and pro aspect. What I do specifically for PFC is I cover 3 college teams. One is San Jose State University, which they had a big 24-0 victory over Sac State last night. So congrats to them. And the other 2 I cover Stanford and Cal. And basically, my Twitter account, if you guys have any questions, is at RFL Red Zone. So that's pretty much what I cover for the great PFC.
Awesome. So in seeing that, and you are definitely at the college level, so you get to see these guys when they are playing at their hungriest. With that being said, what do you think of the Texans rookies this year?
I really like what they've done with their rookies. They, of course, DeAndre Hopkins looks like a future star, and I think they added some good depth with Quisenberry on the offensive line. He's from San Jose State, actually, so he's a pretty mammoth, 6'5", this big offensive lineman. So they added some depth to their offensive line, which their offensive line is pretty solid already. So I think the rookies are looking like they're going to stand out and do well for them.
Awesome. So did you get a chance to see our wonderful Texas tradition of the Governor's Cup last night?
No, actually I missed that. I apologize.
That's okay. We won't scald you this time. Next time, though, you do one. Okay? However,
I'll be all over it.
No good Texas food for you next time. So, but with that being said, we did have our Governor's Cup, which has become a long-standing Texas tradition now for the past 11 years. And basically where we go up to Dallas or they come down to Houston and we play for bragging rights. Not always the most fun thing, but it's there. With that being said, what do you think of the Texans-Cowboys rivalry?
Anytime you can have a rivalry, I think it's great for the cities and the sport. People turn into rivalries and may not even follow the sport, and that's the draw, and that's what makes it so exciting. Also, I think that the fact that it's you could have two teams. One team could be a great team. Say the Texans are 12-3 or 14-2, or they're playing say the Cowboys, who are just the reverse. They're 2-14, and it could be a great game. The rivalry is what sparks that, and that's what sparks the interest. So I'm always big for any kind of rivalry.
Awesome. And what is your take on, because we have the great rivalry between between two teams in one state, but now we also have, for the Texans finally this year, we actually get some competition and a little bit of rivalry going between positions on the team. For instance, we've had a wonderful quarterback competition all season. I don't think in the history of the Texans we've been able to say we've had that much depth at one position so competitively. What is your take on the quarterbacks that we have, between Case Keenum, T.J. Yates, as well as Matt Schaub, who, of course, is a starter, as we know. However, there's finally some competition. What do you think of this in-position rivalry?
I think the competition has been awesome between we all know that Schaub's going to be the starter unless something weird happens, but Schaub is a starter. But between Yates and Keenum, it's just been up and down. They both have had excellent preseason games, and each game they've been top notch. If I would have to make a guess right now, I would say T.J. Yates would win the backup job just because he knows the system. He's been there for a couple of years now, but it would not surprise me at all to see Keenum take over that by the end of the year.
Good deal. And did you follow Keenum when he was still playing at U of H?
I haven't. I didn't. And I kind of regret it because he looks, the way he stepped in so far, he looks pretty solid as a rookie quarterback. He's pretty steady.
True. Now, just taking a moment off of the Texans and just looking at the NFL as a whole, this offseason was kind of quiet in respect to, off seasons of past. With that being said, do you see the culture of the NFL and the way they handle their off seasons changing? Do you see it becoming more calm, or is the game speeding up, or are they doing the right things, or do you see them continuously to progress?
I definitely see an offensive progression. I think that just looking over the games and they are you talking about NFL as a whole or the Texans?
The NFL as a whole, because at the end of the day, it's one big happy family. There are two teams. And everybody's affected from everybody. Players come from teams all over, and with the way that the systems are going, with the off seasons especially, we see so many injuries. We see players go from here to there. Are we seeing the NFL progress in making sure players are prepared and they're ready to go wherever they may be needed, or is it more of a step back because the NFL is not doing certain things that they probably have done in the past?
Right. I definitely think that there's definitely a progression of change. The referees are I think definitely more concerned about player safety. Taunting and anything that might spark a confrontation between teams. I think the NFL is definitely trying to quell any kind of injury, whether it's instigated or it's head-on-head collision. Of course, they had just the settlement not too long ago. So I think the game is changing towards player safety more than ever than before.
Okay. And before we let you go, Mike, I want to know, what's your prediction for the Texans this season?
Oh, that's a great question. I actually did go every game and went down to each team, and they have a lot of great nights. They got Thursday nights against inner rivals Colts and Jags. And at the very end, I really think that they're going to go 12-4. So I think they'll probably win their division with that record, maybe even a first-round bye, and then hopefully they can avoid the Patriots and, actually they have the team to go to the Super Bowl and win it all. So hopefully that's the case.
Awesome. Well, at least we know that you and I both agree that the Texans have the ability to go 12-4. So now you have gotten a pass for missing last night's game. And what can we expect to see more from you coming up this season?
Well, definitely you're gonna see a lot of updates on some college football with San Jose State, Stanford, and Cal. And definitely always interested in talking football. And the Texans, they're a great team, and they have a great offense. I hope that Arian Foster continues to heal and comes back strong. So I'll be rooting for him and the rest of the Texans.
Awesome. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and I hope to speak with you further as the season progresses and goes on, as well as look forward to some of you right now in college football because, hey, that means that I'll see you come draft time.
Absolutely. And thank you very much for having me on, and I hope everybody has a great day.
Awesome.
Football fans, check out ProFootballCentral.com for all the latest NFL news and analysis. Also, check out the very popular Pro Football Central Radio Network for awesome NFL talk around the league. Go to ProFootballCentral.com. ProFootballCentral.com.
Cigar fans, check out FifthDownCigar.com and enter the coupon code PFC to get 10% off your order. Lots of nice high-end cigars. That's FifthDownCigar.com. Enter the code PFC for 10% off your order.
And we're back. And now we have Miss Claire Bear herself calling in from Houston, Texas, of course, so we can give her a breakdown on what she thinks is going to happen for the Houston Texans in this upcoming season. Hey, Claire, how are you?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be on your show this week.
Awesome. Well, it's a pleasure to have you. As most people know, or some people don't know, you are on staff with NFLfemale.com. And can you just give us a breakdown or just a little of your background on what got you involved with the Houston Texans?
Well, I didn't write it all, and a friend of mine had a website for the Texans alone, and he was basically looking for more writers and thought adding a female to the staff would be a good move. Around the same time, NFL Female saw that I was really active on Twitter and said, hey, we need someone to write for the Texans. And so a couple of months later, they're having a podcast, and why don't you join the podcast? So now I'm Miss Texans for the NFL Female and the lone chick for State of the Texans, which is the Texans website I write for.
Awesome. So, as everyone can see, she is all things Houston Texans, which is what we love here. And, of course, you and I follow each other on Twitter, so we both kind of see where our opinions and observations have been thus far this season. And I think you and I are kind of on the same page with a lot of things. However, I just want to kind of get your take on what is your take on the Texans preseason?
There was one draft pick, I think it was fourth-round draft pick, Travario Williams. He didn't really pan out in the preseason as much as we thought he would on defense. But other than him, the Texans they pretty much hit gold on almost all their draft picks and their undrafted free agents. There were a lot of undrafted free agents today who were told they were staying on the team. And I was very impressed with what Rick Smith did in the offseason and through the draft. And honestly, people talk down. They want to lower the expectations for the Texans, and maybe I'm just an eternal optimist, but I don't see how we have declined from last year. I only see that we've added leadership, and we've strengthened ourselves at a few positions that were questionable last season. So I'm wondering exactly where people are getting that will be like 8-8 or 9-7 when, last year we could have gone 15-1. Maybe
right.
14-2 had we not fallen off the end of the season. With that leadership there,
right.
I can see us doing I'd say that we're going to do as well as we did last season in terms of our record.
I agree. I definitely, when people say we may go 8-8, I don't see that. I'm sorry. I definitely think it's, like you said, the leadership again, because I feel as though the Texans are one of those teams where there's just minor details that need to be tweaked. Leadership being one of those things, and that starts at the top with our quarterback. And with that being said, I definitely feel like we're going to go 12-4. Worst case scenario, 11-5. And with our leadership starting at the top, how do you think Matt Schaub will hold up with the QB battle that's been going on? Do you think that he will continue to lead and lead by example, or will he succumb to the pressure to perform?
That's a good question. And honestly, he hasn't shown me that he can rise above the pressure. The end of last season, things were a little different last season. We essentially had a tight end and a wide receiver who he could count on. He kind of crumbled toward the end of the season. This year, he has all the weapons he needs. He has 3 great tight ends who looked awesome in preseason. He hasn't had that before, even going into the season. He has 4 good, reliable wide receivers that he can count on, 2 of whom are superstars or going to be superstars in Andre and Little Dre, as we've been calling him around Houston, Little Dre, DeAndre Hopkins. So if we fail on offense in the passing game, that's on Matt Schaub. And it's going to, I hope, if you look at his numbers since, I want to say it was since 2006, he is third in terms of quarterback completion rates behind Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady since 2006. Matt Schaub. I mean, you look at something like that and you're like, he's not a scrub quarterback. He's not crappy.
He's not.
Yeah.
He definitely isn't.
Everyone's like,
but
throw him to the curb.
He
needs to show up. Exactly. We got to count on him to show up. If he doesn't, then he lets the whole city down, essentially. So he's a lot of pressure.
Exactly. It's the pressure. Can he rise above the pressure of TJ Yates is on his heels, Case Keenum is on his heels, and he needs to also carry this team. So can he handle that? Can he handle the spotlight? Because even though Matt is the quarterback of the Houston Texans, he has been propelled into the spotlight of leading this team as he is going to be this year. Can he rise above and be a Matt Ryan, or will he become a Matt Leinart? Time will only tell. Now, moving to the defensive side of the ball, you have Ed Reed, who hasn't had the chance, who hasn't had the opportunity to display the leadership that he had in Baltimore and Houston. However, we have to work Ed Reed into our system. What do you see Ed Reed leading the defense, especially now we know that Swearinger is a beast? What do you see Ed Reed and his leadership skills taking the defensive side?
Honestly, if he can get on the field and do as well as Glover Quinn did last season, we win. Because Glover Quinn was not the leader that Ed Reed is. And so if you add Glover Quinn plus the leadership offered by Ed Reed, and every year Ed Reed's numbers have outdone GQ's. Right. So if you can just get that level at least from him, plus his leadership teaching young Swearinger what's up in the NFL, how to be successful. Speaking of, I was soliciting Jungle Boy swag for a date the other day on Twitter, and he ignored me. But I just feel like he is the cutest thing ever on earth. He's just like, he's humble, but yeah, he knows he's such a badass. I know, how dare you? He's like this awesome little bundle of I don't know if I can say the word ass, but badassedness combined with a little bit of humbleness at the same time. So I just think he's awesome. And with someone like Ed Reed teaching him how to be a professional in the NFL, I think the sky's the limit for that guy.
And I agree. Now, in your opinion, because we both sat up and we both watched that Governor's Cup, bowl, ball, whatever we want to call it, right. Do you really feel that like having the Governor's Cup in the middle, especially at the end of the preseason, is even necessary?
No. Honestly, my friends and I were laughing about it on Twitter last night. I was like, this is everything. It's the Governor's Cup. We're being super sarcastic. I think that it should only be done for a regular season game. And, we play each other every 4 years. So it'll be just sort of like a governor's race. I mean, don't they do the governor's race every 4 years? I think they do. I don't really pay attention to politics anymore. But
I know. Rick Harris has been there for so long, we forget.
There you go. Yeah, and I just think that, make it like a 4-year bragging rights thing because, you rotate through each conference and each division. And so every 4 years next year we'll see the Cowboys and we'll see J.J. Watt sack the crap out of Tony Romo, and it'll be awesome. And we'll be fighting for something then in addition to the game, the Governor's Cup, instead of a 4th preseason game. Who cares? I mean,
exactly. But obviously Dallas did not care. Obviously, we can see that Dallas did not care. They showed no effort whatsoever last night.
And that shocked me because I do research for State of the Texans on the opposing team. Not on the Texans, but on the opposing team the week before the game. And their blogger, who is awesome, KD Drummond, he was going on and on about all these undrafted free agents, all these, signings in the offseason, everything that who was going to show up in preseason. And it was like no one even opened their eyes the whole game. So I was amazed at what Dallas didn't show last night. But we're not here to talk about Dallas.
Not only you, I think a lot of us were, because we were like, okay, do they not care? No, they did not care at all.
Yeah.
Not one bit. I think they all went out for wings after the game.
I know, right? It kind of just makes you wonder about the environment there, I mean, in Houston, everybody's fighting for that roster spot. Everybody, is putting their everything on the field. Like when Dennis Johnson fumbled, he looked devastated. He looked like it was the end of his world. But the Cowboys are just like,
exactly.
Yeah, we were intercepted, big deal. Oh, you're going to stand in the star, A.J. Bouye? That's cool, whatever you want to do. I mean, I don't know, just a big difference in mindsets, I think.
And I think that mindset comes from if the Texans understand now is their time. If they don't take possession of things this year, if they don't grab it by the horns, then, essentially we don't want to become, and I love this team, but I hate to say it, we don't want to be the Atlanta Falcons. We don't want to we don't want to go 3 strikes and then people start guessing about who we are and what we're going to do. I think the time is now. We have to take the time and seize it. And so every play counts, every down counts, everything counts.
I agree.
Point blank, period. And I think that mindset and mentality has been instilled into that locker room, and these players know it. If you don't make the roster here, then you may make it somewhere else, but this is where you have to show and prove. You have to give your all here.
Yes, exactly.
And also, for Monday night's game, September 9th, we have a little bit of time where the Texans get a little bit of rest. They have a holiday weekend, and they kind of have a long break. Who do you think, or what do you think we may see for this first game?
I think we have so many new weapons that we're going to let San Diego prep for those new weapons, and we're going to bring out the same thing that we brought out last season. You're going to see tons of Schaub to Dre, Schaub to OD, tons of running game. And I think on defense, you're going to see pretty much the same thing you saw last year with a little bit of change, in the linebackers, rushing the passer, that sort of stuff. But I think that we're going to let other teams prepare for our new weapons and start off the season slowly integrating them into real playing time. I think that'll take the teams off, it'll catch teams off kilter. They're not going to be ready to have to go back to double teaming Dre in the middle of the game or, putting single coverage on DeAndre.
And that's going to be the biggest thing. That's going to be the biggest thing is how we're going to is finally seeing them use DeAndre and Andre in a real game, in real time. Because teams are not going to be ready for it.
I'm like, that's like the thing that I'm jonesing for the most. Everyone's like, defense, whatever, running game. I want to see those two on the field at the same time. DeAndre and those hands. Oh, my God, those man hands. Yeah, I cannot wait to see it.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. And I feel like he's learned so much in such a short span of time. That's one thing I definitely have seen from him in his improvement, just the way that he's learning to read routes better and coming more comfortable with the system. I cannot wait to see him on the field. And even though another thing, I'm excited to see Swearinger because I don't think that since and even though Marion Barber was a running back, but someone of his size and aggression and being able to utilize that on a field, he's just going to bulldoze through some people, and I'm ready to see it. I want to see him bulldoze through. I want to see him bulldoze the things the same way Marion Barber used to bulldoze when he was in Dallas. Feasting people, and I'm excited about that because I don't think anybody has been scared of our defense for many years, right. And now we finally have like this bulldozer who can literally take your legs out. I love it.
Well, and last season, I think that, we were awesome on defense. Our one guy, though, who kind of had an attitude, Cushing, he went down early. And our defense, they were tough and they were awesome players. They didn't really have an attitude. Like J.J. Watt's such a nice guy, and Brooks Reed's so quiet, and just on and on and on. Now we have Cushing back. We have Swearinger. We have Ed Reed, who, he's a wise old man, but he will make you pay. We just have these characters on defense now who they add some fearsomeness, we're going to get to your quarterback and we're going to make you hurt on our way to getting there. So I think it's awesome. We're going to have teams, I think, fearing us a lot more this season than they did last year. I think last year we caught them off guard. This year they're going to be ready, and when they get there, they're going to be scared, is what I honestly, truthfully think.
And I totally agree. Well, Claire, we're going to be wrapping up here in a minute, and so what are your predictions for the Texans? What record? What do you see their record being at the end of the season?
I'm going to go with my old trusty answer that I've used everywhere. I'm going to say 12-4. To be cautious, I do think that we'll struggle with the Colts, at least one of our matchups this season, and probably one of the other AFC matchups we'll struggle with. And then, when we match up against San Francisco and Seattle and maybe even Arizona and St. Louis, there could be some fights there that, like we had last season with Minnesota and Green Bay. We're not familiar with them. They bring something different than anyone else in our conference, essentially. So I say 12-4, but I say it's a strong 12-4. I say we don't go limping into the playoffs like we did last season, and we win the division. And, I think the Colts could be there as a wild card, but I see the Texans taking the AFC South for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being on with us. Thank you for driving safely in Houston traffic. And, of course, I look forward to it. And when the Texans come up to New York for the Super Bowl, you definitely have a place to stay.
That's right, yes. And we'll just go hang out in that life together. No big deal. We'll just go watch the Super Bowl and have a great time in New York. Thank you so much for having me. I've had a blast with you today.
Football fans, check out the official T-shirt apparel shop for the Pro Football Central Radio Network. Check out BigFrog.com/Cincinnati. That's BigFrog.com/Cincinnati. You think it, we ink it. They have an awesome 24-hour turnaround time. You can also visit them at their fabulous store over at Anderson Town Center, 7426 Beachmont Avenue, Cincinnati, Ohio 45255. That's BigFrog.com/Cincinnati.
And we're back. Well, you guys, it's been a great one. We've had two amazing guests today, Claire as well as Michael. And I just want to kind of touch base on one thing on this two-point conversion, and that's Czar Goodell's purse rule. As a woman who definitely goes through the pain of wearing my 5-inch heels that I love to every game, that also have matching handbags that go with them, what am I supposed to do walking around with a big old Ziploc bag? Seriously, Mr. Goodell? Seriously? Have you seen these things? And then when I tried to find out could I at least be somewhat stylish and get a clear furlough bag, I was told no because it was yellow. It's still clear. You can still see through it. You're still going to see all my personal business, and I'm probably going to have to wrap up and tape anyway. So what's the big deal, Mr. Goodell? You're not making this easy on me at all. And there's a long line of females behind me who don't like this rule. Now, I'm more than willing to let your security search through my purse at every game like they've been doing for years, even though I feel violated. I'm okay with it. But a clear purse, a plastic bag, this seriously cannot be me. But I'll let it slide. However, such is life. Also, and that would be my rant for today's show. On a happier note, the Texans had an amazing preseason, And I look forward to having an amazing season and going 12-4. And as you can see, most people agree with me. It's been a great show, and I can't wait till next week when we kick off a real season where games count and we see how a lot of these position battles have played out. And as always, it's been a great one here with you guys, and I'll see you next week. Thanks.
This has been a presentation of the Pro Football Central Network. For news, blogs, highlights, and more, log on to ProFootballCentral.com.